Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Book in the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Vegas, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast, where today we are covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from February 1st, 1992. New month, same old us. And if you listen to this on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe button for us. It is greatly appreciated. I am sitting here with not Doc Turner. Boy, he's got some scheduling conflicts out of his ass this week and maybe next and maybe the one after that. It is a true conundrum around here how we're going to get this thing going, but we'll keep going. I'm sitting here with Mean Mike Crockett from the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing. Hard Body Harper says he will be joining us in a few minutes, which means it could be 2, it could be 20, it could be 40. Crockett, let me welcome you in. How are you? Thanks for pitching in and coming in on relief. Gee, that word relief in this show again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. I actually asked Doc to kind of step aside for tonight so I could just grill you about the cancellation of the Mid-South TV Review podcast. What happened? You're trying to avoid the question. Let me know right now. Why did it get canceled? What's going on?
You're starting rumors again. You're starting rumors. Nothing's been canceled. You're starting rumors again. Please don't start the rumors.
I saw it on the mothership. Come on. It's good as gold.
I mean, I didn't see what's going on in the mothership, but man, I've learned something. That when you don't talk about something, people's imaginations really will run wild. I've seen some wild speculation, and it's just not true. I don't know what else to say, But you think you're a comedian, and that's why you brought it up at the beginning of this show. It is not dead, but it's on an extended hiatus, like the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing, you some bitch. Oh man, that's good. And the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing is definitely on an extended hiatus. You're talking about me in the Mid-South show. Let's talk about you. And we're gonna be doing something soon. That was like 3 months ago now, and I ain't seen shit on the WPAN feed.
Yeah, and I just paid for another year for the Podbean subscriptions. I gotta do something.
See? You're talking about me, you see? Oh, man. Soon. Yeah, coming soon. But he wants to people in glass houses should not throw stones. But
so it's not dead. That's what you say.
It's not dead.
Put it out there right now.
It's not dead. But I'm not going to comment on something that, here's the thing. I can't comment on something that I'm not the producer and owner of. I don't think a lot of, like, I get why folks ask me about it, and it doesn't bother me. But when you're not the owner and content owner of something, I don't really have control. Like with BTT, I'm doing everything. You see me messaging you today. Hey, what's going on? Can you do it? I'm in control of everything. I'm in control of when we record, how we record, when the recording is going to be out. I do all that. No one else plays a part in that outside of my co-hosts like you and Doc and Harper. But when it comes to the recording of it, you know this from the WPAN, you control every bit of it. So if anybody asks you a question, you can answer anything. So that's the difference, And you
So
know
you're
that.
absolving
You know
yourself
that.
of
That's
all
what's
blame.
funny. You know that. That's what's funny.
You're absolving yourself of all blame, is what you're saying here.
I don't think there's any blame. I think you're just being a shit stirrer. You're trying to be funny. You're really trying. I saw when you tagged me in it, and I read some of those responses, and I was like, oh my God.
They've got the whole narrative down.
Oh my God, dude! I know how celebrities feel now. Not that I'm a celebrity. Boy, there were some wild stories in there. And then you're a shit stirrer because you give then you start messaging me. Hey, you see, you're not gonna reply. You're not gonna answer to your fans. You are a shit stirrer. That was funny. Oh. Yeah, I got a kick out of it. I thought it was very good.
History is any indication, the next episode will be coming out any minute now because whenever I talk about it, the next episode comes out. So you're welcome, everybody.
Of course, except that hasn't happened the last 5 times you've been on this show. So.
It definitely hasn't.
So I don't know about history at this point. I think we've changed the narrative on that.
Ancient history.
I promise everybody. At least to my knowledge, and my knowledge is very secure and safe and trustworthy with this. It's not dead. And I tell you what definitely isn't dead. BTT is definitely not dead. We're gonna keep going. I mean, even like Doc couldn't be here. Crockett's pinch hitting or being the relief pitcher. So yeah, we're just gonna keep this train rolling.
And also, I have my top 5 all set up here. I'm ready to go whenever you are. Right, we're doing top 5 tonight.
Doc bit off more than he can chew with the top 5. He really did. He promised the top 5.
I told you, I messaged you about this as well. I'm all for it. I remember way back when you guys did the top 5s. I was a little disappointed secretly when it went away in favor of doing the Saturday night reviews. But I love the top 5. I mean, even though you gave Chris Adams' super kick a number 1 in terms of finishers over Shawn Michaels' super kick, but.
Oh yeah, well Chris's was better. I mean, even Chris was not a good human being, but he could throw a hell of a super kick. That super kick was badass, man. I took it. I know.
I'm kind of giving you a little bit of shit. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was the way he kind of jumped into it like that. It looked pretty devastating. Yeah,
it was really good. I'll be damned though. One time I was saying, Chris Adams, unlike the Young Bucks, one super kick that knocks it, and the guy's gone. I'm watching World Class one day, a couple weeks after I tweeted that out on Twitter like 6 years ago, and I'll be damned if Chris Adams didn't hit two super kicks to finish the match. Man, never fails. It never fails. Yeah, everything wasn't always airtight, brother. Yeah, I tell you what, since it looks like you'll be here next week, you come up with a top 5 for next week, and we'll do that before we jump into the Saturday night portion.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, if name one, just get me one. Just not no WWE centric one. I want something. I want something south of the Mason-Dixon line.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do, brother. Real quick, before we get rolling any further, I want to give a big time shout out to our big time patron contributors monthly: Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, good old Justin. Thank you for your generous support on Patreon each and every month, and basically being the sponsors of this show. Shout out to all the patrons at that, and a couple of new patrons: Blake M, Jacob Z. Thanks for signing up, becoming patrons. Enjoy all that Patreon content. 300, 400 plus Patreon exclusive episodes are available. And Luke J, thanks for bumping up to the Hall of Fame tier. It is greatly appreciated. But tons of patron content is available. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. By the time you're listening to this, Doc and I recorded and released 4 patron episodes from me hanging out at his house on a Friday night several weeks back. And I think if I totaled it all, we probably recorded for over 5 hours. So it was easily a half a work day, all of those shows. So it was a lot of fun. All of that is available on Patreon. There were 2 Ask Doc episodes. We had to break them up into 2 episodes because they were running long. There was the Adrian Adonis episode. We did that one in person along with the Ask Doc as well. And then Doc, I was feeling good. Doc was completely drunk, And you can tell when you listen to it if you're a patron. We did like an ECW watch along to RVD versus John Cena from One Night Stand 2006 when Cena put the WWE title on the line. And then we did a four-way TV title match between Jericho, Pitbull 2, Scorpio, and who was that? Shane Douglas was the fourth guy. And that's the drunkest Doc has ever been recording an episode. All of that available on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. I think the ECW stuff was really fun. I told you after, I said, man, I don't know if I'm going to release this, man. I got to listen back to it. But it wasn't as bad as I remembered. I kept thinking I was way more tipsier than I was. I didn't sound nowhere near as bad as I thought I did. Doc slurring his words. He getting mad at me. He can't even argue with me because his brain is shutting down from the drunkenness. It was great.
Well, I'm glad you decided to release it. I know it was weighing on your mind whether you should release that last one.
Well, you asked me about I said, yeah, we recorded 3 or 4 episodes, and you're like, 3 or 4? I'm like, yeah, well, here's the deal. And then I had to explain it to you, and you're just laughing at me via DM.
Yeah.
It was
glad
fun.
You decided to put it out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good stuff, like an hour and a half just on the ECW stuff. Lots of fun, but again.
Old men in their rocking chairs on the back porch drinking moonshine, right?
Well, he was drinking beer, and he was mixing a couple different beers, and then he started drinking whiskey, and he would never admit it to me, but he had to throw up that night. He was consuming way too much. But, his wife and kids were gone, and he was just being a drunkard, so there's that. But, yeah, he was killing moonshine. I have this old thing, Crockett. I'm not an alcoholic like Doc. Doc likes to act like I drink cognac every day of the week. But, this old saying is like, liquor to beer, have no fear. Beer to liquor, never be sicker. And he went beer to liquor. So that's why I said he's probably going to be sick. But he said he wasn't. We'll have to see if it's true. The world may never know.
No better advertising for the Patreon right there.
Oh, man, it was a lot of fun. And again, not only that, like all the Dark Side of the Rings we've done this year are available. We did all those Tales from the Territories last fall, 10 episodes of that. Plus, you get the Clash of the Champions that we just reviewed, all the WCW pay-per-views dating back to 87. Everything available on Patreon. Video versions included for all the WCW stuff. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Sign up. It is greatly appreciated, and thank you for your support. Crockett, anything else before we get in? Harper did say he's coming. He did say, I can confirm that, and I believe him. Anything else before we get into the review portion of this week's show?
Well, you did kind of put one over on me on this. You messaged me kind of last minute saying, hey, need to, Doc's having a little trouble scheduling wise. We need you to fill in. It's an hour episode. Don't worry about it. 1 hour. So I said, okay, great. So, 1 hour with commercials. So for about 40 minutes. So I put it on. I see it says 1 hour. Great. I get going with it. And I realize that it's 1 hour of content. So it looks like it's an hour and a half episode. So you kind of pulled the wool over my eyes on this one. And it was a little longer than I thought it was going to be. But I made it through just in time to record tonight.
Do y'all hear this guy? It's an hour and 2 minutes, and 30 seconds without commercials. And he's saying, you pulled one over on me.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be 40 minutes. You said it was an hour, it's an hour. So I figured it was an hour TV episode, which means like 40 minutes of content. But no.
I'll have to remember that from now on, Tinkerbell.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will make sure of that. And next week,
next time.
I'll make sure I look. Next week, I think, is an hour and 25 minutes, which means it was a 2-hour episode. So I'll tell you, it's a 2-hour episode, but the commercials have been cut. Thus, it's an hour and 25 minutes. Is that the type of clarification you want?
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on next week then.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I'm giving you a week warning. Maybe you can get that in 10-minute increments between now and next week.
Might be able to happen.
Yeah, we still get that to happen. All right. Well, let me get the video version of this one going. Again, we're talking February 1st, 1992. New month, same old us of Mud Show Outlaw Foolishness. Harper should be joining us soon. At least, again, I'll repeat, he said he was going to. This show starts off. This is the second half of the TV taping that started last week, which was taped January 22nd of 1992 in Kansas City, Missouri at the Municipal Auditorium. The intro shows a replay of Rick Steiner being pile-driven by the Dangerous Alliance. Jim Ross tells us what we'll see today on the card, then throws to a pre-tape promo from the Steiners. If you give me a second, I'm going to go to the pre-tape from the Steiners right here. Crockett, here it is.
From Rick and from Scott Steiner, they want the World Tag Titles, and here's what they had to say to the Dangerous Alliance.
Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson, me and my brother issued a challenge to you for this World Tag Team titles. But when the match came down, Arn Anderson, you walked away. Why? We challenged you, not Larry and Bobby, so that we wrestled the match and we beat Larry 1, 2, 3 in the middle. Then you stop us, kick us, punch us after the match. That don't matter. What matters is what happens from bell to bell. That's what matters. You can punch us, kick us all you want. We don't care. Paulie, dangerously, sooner or later, you're going to have to put your two best men forward. But their best two men ain't be good enough. Larry Zbyszko, what you did was drop me on the part of my body that matters less. I got right on my head. Nothing there, nothing to worry about. What you got to worry about now is what you're going to come up with to be me and my brother. It ain't going to happen. There ain't nothing you can do to stop it.
I love Rick Steiner. You dropped me on the wrong part of my body, my head. There's nothing there. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty standard fare for the Steiner brothers, but effective.
Yeah, good stuff from them right there. Any other thoughts before I go into this top 10?
No, let's move on to the top 10.
So, I don't know if this was last week. We've been kind of talking about this with these top 10s. I want you to look at this, Crockett, real quick. Number 6, number 7, number 8, 9, and 10. You notice how sometimes they have the city and state?
Yes.
Sometimes they just have the Rocky Mountains. For Abdullah, it's just got the Sudan. Tailor-Made Man, Vero Beach, Florida. Well, for Cactus, they kept misspelling truth and consequences. Right. And they just say, fuck it. We're just not going to put nothing.
Yes, I noticed that. I remember you guys harping on it for weeks, and I noticed that. They just deleted it completely. It just says 296 is weight.
Fuck it. We're just going to put his weight for now. And Harper's like, how lazy are you? You mean to tell me somebody can't look this shit up? I mean, you are Turner Broadcasting. You're a TV company. What the piss? But they just say, I mean, it's just hilarious to me. The other thing we keep hopping on here too is, so, by 1992, I was talking to Harper and Doc, and we were like, it's pretty standard that by that point, when you abbreviated a state, it was just 2 letters capitalized. For example, you would see NC for North Carolina capitalized. California would be CA, Georgia GA. Well, they got a funny way of doing it because Warner Robins, Georgia, where it says Ron Simmons is from, is GA with a period at the end.
Yes. And
we
got
got North Carolina
correctly, I believe.
Right. Everything. You can't spell shit right. We got NC, right? That's correct. It's North Carolina. But then we got CA with no period, capital C, little letter A. Now, I will say this. I think they finally went with MN for Minnesota instead of MINN. So, but the whole point was we were just like, can they have some consistency? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
it's not the hard part, but it's
they
funny.
Weren't able to cut and paste back in 1992, I guess. But yeah, whoever the intern who typed this in needed to go back to school.
It's probably not an intern. That's what's sad.
Yeah, probably someone with the last name Crockett.
Probably. No. Oh, can you explain? Because this question was asked once many years ago on the show. You are not related to the Crockett's.
No, sadly. I probably would have had it. Well, no, I would have been a little too young to have a job, but no, not as far as I'm aware. I'm no relation to the famous Crockett wrestling family.
Yeah, it's just ironic that you're a Crockett and you're on a WCW podcast. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after the top 10, we go to Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton versus Brian Pillman and Mike Graham.
Why?
Doc called Mike Graham several weeks ago milk toast. Your thoughts, though?
Yeah, I was gonna say Flying Brian and Molasses Mike. Just
that's a new one.
What is he doing in this match? One of these things is not like the other. God, Jim Ross puts him over as like a mat tactician, but we've talked about this last time I was on. He's just dry as dry can be. He's like, it's ironic. His name is Graham. He's like a mouthful of graham crackers. He's just dry. There's just nothing to him.
I think the last time you were on the Graham episode of Dark Side of the Ring hadn't aired yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have an appreciation for Mike Graham, but they even said it on the Dark Side of the Ring, I believe. They were like, the business had kind of almost passed him by that point. In this era, because he's, I don't know, he's a good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler. Let's be real. I mean, he wrestling family. He can do all the moves. There's just no personality, no sizzle to the steak, as Harper likes to always say. There's just not anything that you latch on to. You go, oh God, that guy's got the it factor. There's something there. Whereas the other guys in this ring do have something, So anyway, it's sad. It really is when you think about it like that, because it's not that he's not he's not Van Hammer, right, Crockett? Let's be real.
No, I guess not. But you have to tell me. I mean, I know how you feel about the man, but you have to tell me. You have to prefer Z-Man over Mike Graham as Flying Brian's partner.
I mean,
come on.
All right, so you like Z-Man better. At the bottom of the roster, if we're talking about guys I want to see in the ring, if number 100 is Mike Graham, number 99 is Z-Man.
I'll take it.
I don't know what that says, but and I mean, look, look at that little sequence right there. He's got Arn in an abdominal stretch. Arn hip tosses him out of it.
In the match is an abdominal stretch. Yawn.
He kicks Arn out. Arn in an arm drag. Like, he can do all the technical stuff you want your wrestlers to do in the ring, but there's just nothing there to be like, oh yeah, I want to go see Mike Graham. And I've seen the stuff in Florida when he's cutting these promos and he's fired up. I mean, there's something there. It's just it ain't here for me, man. I don't know how else to say it.
There was something there in Florida. There ain't something here in Georgia.
Yeah, it's just it ain't happening. But
there's something that I had a timestamp just to illustrate. I don't want to harp on this guy too much. I mean, you brought up the Dark Side of the Ring. Now you got me feeling bad. But the 932. Just if you want to talk about just being past his time, look at him on the apron here. He's like, yay.
Yeah, the clap.
He's just kind of hokey, and it's just the business has kind of passed him by at this point, I think. Here's a spot that's kind of a little scary. Whoa.
Yeah, that almost didn't look good when Pillman scales. It's like he climbs up Bobby, and Bobby's helping him get on his shoulders, and then Pillman is getting ready to launch. But when he launches to go on the Arn, that force of pushing Bobby. Well, he pushes Bobby away, and he kind of just slips off, and he almost lands on Arn's leg wrong.
Yeah, and they kind of push it that way. Jim Ross does, but Arn seems okay. But yeah, he basically just kind of slipped off of his back, and he was supposed to cross body Anderson off of Eaton's shoulders, but it didn't kind of turn out like they hoped.
No, it wasn't even close.
No.
It almost looked bad, but Arn's selling the leg kind of from it, so I guess there's a true professional. And I don't know what Mike Graham is doing on the apron, walking up and down. It just looks weird. Tell you, man, that was a heavy episode, man. That Dark Side of the Ring was really heavy on the Grahams.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna work my way to the finish here. So there's a hot tag is made, but the ref doesn't see it, and Pillman says screw it, and is like, nah, I'm coming in and fighting. Graham puts the figure 4 on Arn, but Bobby Eaton comes off the top rope and hits the Alabama Jam on Graham, and Bobby and Arn end up winning this match. I mean, the right team won. They are the World Tag Team Champions. I mean, you'd expect them to win. Definitely not Pillman and boy. You know what? As I'm watching this, definitely not Pillman and Graham, but I give Z-Man a hard time, but he is a better, more flashier tag partner for Pillman than Graham, 100%. And Graham and Pillman lose, and there's that. Ugh. Boy, the crowd. Look at the crowd; they're just dead. They're not moving. Nobody's reacting. They don't react until the heels start leaving, where they can scream at them as they walk out.
Right.
All the saps.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the finish was kind of unique. I liked the way they got into that.
I think Bobby used to do that from time to time. Like you'd see somebody get somebody in a submission move or some kind of move, and Bobby would drop the Alabama Jam and hit him, and it was you like to see that because that's heels being heels.
Yeah, and all done while the ref's back is turned. He's trying to get Pillman back out of the ring again, so it's all perfectly set up and executed.
Get the good ref. The ref analysis is always a good thing on this show.
Yes.
We keep the show moving, and we go to the WCW magazine segment with Eric Bischoff. There is a Sting promo heading into Super Brawl 2 versus Luger for the world title. I can play it. I didn't have anything from it. Did you have anything from it, Crockett? It was...
No.
Meh. Okay. Then we get one from Lex Luger, which is also meat and potatoes. And, I mean, there's just not much there from either one of these. I don't know. This is where I miss the old studio, man. If they could build this up in that studio with the people going nuts. We do see a replay of Rude and Steamboat from the last Clash that you can, again, hear us review on Patreon by going to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. And then one of the last things we see in the WCW segment is we do get a Rick Rude promo. How about I play that. And as I'm watching Rick Rude beat Ricky Steamboat with a belt on Ricky's hydrated back. Let me keep going. Here is the promo from Rick Rude talking about Steamboat after they showed the replay of Rude beating down Steamboat.
Country whipper.
Ravishing Rick Rude, now Ricky Steamboat wants your title at Super Brawl 2.
Super Brawl 2, 1992. What a night it's gonna be. Two great gladiators, Ricky Steamboat, Ravishing Rick Rude, bumping heads in the middle of the ring. The people want to see it, so let's give it to them. Ricky Steamboat, Super Brawl 2. Let's get ready to rumble.
Right in the peak of my wrestling career, I've got Ravishing Rick Rude right here at Super Brawl 2. Paulie, dangerously, if you happen to stick your nose in the business of our match, it will be thoroughly chopped off. This is an opportunity for the Dragon, but as every wrestling fan and wrestler knows, that when my back is up against the wall, at any big event, at any pay-per-view, that I come home with the gold. Ravishing Rick Rude, be aware of the Dragon, for you will get the rude awakening.
I understand a special stipulation could be added to this match. However, no details were available as we went on the air today. We'll keep you updated on this situation.
All right. I guess we'll have to stay tuned for the special stipulation and see what goes down there. Any thoughts, Crockett, on those two cutting their promo leading to Super Brawl, which takes place in 2 or 3 weeks? I can't remember exactly.
No, I mean, pretty much like you said with the other two, kind of meat and potatoes. Steamboat, he never a strong promo, so they gave him 2 promos in the show. And the second one, I think, is better than this one. But, I mean, yeah, they got the point across. Super Brawl 2 coming up, and U.S. title match.
Yeah. Again, Steamboat, I think it was last week, cut kind of a fiery promo, too. So he's a little bit more fired up than normal. But as he should be, he got beat down, after his match and stuff, so... All right, we'll keep going, and we go to the next match, which is Mr. Hughes and Vinnie Vegas. I don't think I've ever talked to you about Vinnie Vegas before, Crockett. Have we ever had a discussion about Vinnie Vegas?
Don't believe so, no. Did he just arrive?
Oh, yeah, at the Clash. So It's Vinnie Vegas, Hughes versus Joey Maggs and Brad Armstrong. Now, Vegas and Hughes are being managed by Harley Race. I need to ask you, what are your thoughts on Vinnie Vegas, the gimmick, Kevin Nash doing it, the promos, all that good stuff?
Well,
we'll hear him in a second, actually. So,
Vinnie Vegas, I mean, as a New Englander, I know something about awful accents, and Kevin Nash, just his accent makes our accents look like, I don't know, the symphony. He's and just just how, I mean, I guess maybe you'll play the promo after the match.
Yeah, I will.
But
it.
He's just completely over the top. It's like, it's offensive to me, this accent.
I was telling Harper that he sounds like a horrible, it's like they're trying to get him to do a Sopranos accent.
Yeah.
But it's not working at all when you hear him do it. And I guess the other part too, they've seen him now with multiple gimmicks, but now he's from Vegas with a New York accent, which
it's pronounced, Mr. Hughes. And you'll hear it, folks.
Yeah. He's gonna cut several promos too, in that voice where it's just like, oh my God. All right, as far as this match goes, any thoughts on Hughes and Vinnie Vegas versus Maggs and Brad Armstrong?
I mean, I don't know if you've talked about Brad Armstrong, but I mean, he does this silly gimmick, Arachnaman, no questions asked, puts everything into it. He does, the jizz hands, the whole thing. It all gets taken away from him through no fault of his own, and he gets rewarded by being back as a jobber again.
I say it all the time. I think they did him wrong on so many levels for so many years that
Candyman.
I don't know how anybody that that just watched it, casual observers, hardcore observers, how you could watch Brad all these years and just think, because you didn't, like, back then we knew that there were guys who lost all the time, but I don't know if we appreciated a talent like Brad Armstrong that we do now. But it's like they did him wrong so often. It's like, okay, what's next? Because I think one time we got a question. It was something like, oh, well, you think they could have did this with Brad? They could have did that with Brad. I'm like, they pulverized Brad so much all these years in WCW and with enhancement talent bullshit that I just don't know if he was ever going to be recoverable. He would have had to go away for like years and years and then come back. And I don't know, man. It's kind of sad. Big Swole told me one time, he was talking about Brad, with the whole No Limit Soldiers. He was like, dude, Brad was one of the greatest human beings he's ever been around. Talked about like how good of a guy he was and whatnot. He's like, oh man, he's like, Brad was so cool. He just, and you hear that about his personality backstage and how good of a person he was. And like, he'd make you laugh. He had all kind of personality. Austin used to say that he just couldn't pull it out on camera. But I just think they did him so wrong, man. It's really sad. Yeah, you just nailed it.
Even up through like the Monday Night Wars, he's doing, I think, Buzzkill, which is probably what Big Swole saw from him, which is basically when Vince Russo came over to WCW, he decided, oh, he's Armstrong, he's related to Brian Armstrong, let's just give him a road dog gimmick. And it didn't quite pan out, didn't quite work.
Well, and then what Swole was talking about was, Brad was a member of the No Limit Soldiers too at one point. So
as like, Buzzkill, I would think, right? Or no.
Was that his name?
I mean, that was his name, like in that time period. So I
put that out of my mind. I didn't even think about it like that. I really didn't. Now that you're saying it, okay. But like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'd have to really go down and count how many names he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just
Fantasia / Bad Street was one.
You're right. They put him in that bullshit.
They made him a free bird.
They made him a free bird with a mask. Fantasia. It's just with the feathers on it. It was so terrible. Yeah, I feel bad for Brad. And then here he's, wrestling with Joey Maggs against Hughes and Vinnie Vegas. Any other thoughts on this before we work our way to the finish of it?
Well, at one point, Jim Ross guesstimates Vegas's shoe size from like a great distance, which is kind of a favorite pastime of Tony Atlas, who I think is doing WCW in a little bit. But that was quite impressive from JR.
I have to say it. Brian Fury was on the show years ago, and he tells the story of Tony Atlas, and I don't know if you were with him. Y'all were in like
there, yeah.
Okay, y'all were in this sandwich shop. Was it a Subway or just?
Yeah, it was a Subway. It was right across from like the venue where we're having wrestling that night.
Yeah, and he says Tony Atlas is leaning over the counter as they make the sandwich, and he's staring at this girl's feet, and he's just staring and not saying nothing else. And he looks at her and goes, 6. and she's like, excuse me?
And she's like, yeah, you want the number 6 meal?
Yeah, and he's like, no, your shoe is a size 6.
She's like, yes, it is.
If that doesn't say you have a foot fetish where you just eyeball another human being's foot and know exactly what size shoe they wear. And Fury can imitate him good. That's what was funny. Man.
So Rossi here made Tony Atlas proud. Guesstimating he was a size 14.
That's it. Vinnie Vegas is going to pick up Joey Maggs and hit him with the finisher called the Snake Eyes, where he basically drapes a guy over his shoulder and then drops him head first onto the top turnbuckle. 1, 2, 3.
Looked a lot better than I remember it being. Maybe it just got worse over time, but that Snake Eyes right there looked pretty decent. I remember it being like an awful looking finisher, but there it was all right.
In the Clash, it looked pretty like stiff. Like he hit it pretty good. And I mean, from a concept standpoint, if you have a guy take it right or not really take it right, but sell it right, where he can, drop at the right spot and hit his head and fly backwards, it can look kind of devastating because, I mean, you're kind of
I like the way he does it here. He does it here where he runs in and he drops to his knees. I think later on he ends up just kind of dropping the guy onto the top rope with not going down with him, and the way he goes down with him here, it makes it look pretty devastating. I think later on he just got lazier with it, which is kind of a Kevin Nash trademark.
Yeah, gets lazy with it.
Yeah.
Harper is asking if we're on.
We're on, buddy.
Let me call you. Look, we do this live. We don't edit this shit out either. Let me get him added. Hold on one second.
Just in time for promo.
Yeah, this is exact. I've been wanting him for this for a long time. Not a long time, but ever since he debuted, I was like, Harper's got to hear this shit.
Was Harper on the Clash show?
No, he wasn't. That's
man.
Yeah, there he is.
Hey,
we're only about halfway through the review portion, and you're right on time because
hurry up.
You're right on time because we're about to hear Vinnie Vegas talk, and I want you to hear his voice so you can be like, bro, what is this shit? On that note, let's go to the promo with Harley Race, Mr. Hughes, and Vinnie Vegas, who are ringside with Jim Ross. Here it is.
Dominant tag team.
Well, first off, let me say that Lex Luger is into the greatest workout routine of any human being on the face of the earth. You've already saw Van Vader, and you know what he can do. Now, when I get this combination right here in the right gear and they're headed straight forward, what do you think is going to be around that can stop it?
It'll take a great team to stop these guys.
Tell them, big man, tell them.
First off, I want to say what an honor it is to work with the bodyguard, Mr. Hughes. And I'm under the expert tutelage of one of the most respected men ever to walk in a squared circle, Harley Race. The cards have been dealt, people. It's real simple. What you got here is a pair that'll beat a full house any day of the week. So, when you see us come to your town, baby, only one thing's gonna happen. We're gonna win. Don't ever bet against Vinnie Vegas and his man, Mr. Hughes.
Quite a combination, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll have more on WCW right after this timeout.
I gotta hear Harper. Your thoughts on that fake Sopranos accent?
That's what he was supposed to sound like?
I mean, like to me, when I hear him talk as Vinnie Vegas, I immediately think like Dollar Tree Sopranos accent.
Yeah, or like from fucking Casino.
It's bad. Is it? So it's bad, ain't it?
Yeah, it's like when I got out of prison, know what I'm gonna do? I want to fucking. What you say? I'm gonna bash your face in again because I'm stupid.
Yeah. Crockett said,
"Man, this is bad, dude."
Crockett said Crockett's from the Northeast, so he's like, "This is an insult to all Northeasterners."
Yeah, this is it's almost like he's trying to sound like a Bugs Bunny accent.
It's like Vinnie Barbarino or something.
Yeah. Yeah, stupid. Fucking, hey.
Like Foghorn Leghorn.
Hose. Hey.
I see.
Yeah. Something toilet face. What's the thing to say?
You know what? I think you're onto something.
Carter. Hey. Up your nose with a rubber hose. Hey, Mr. Carter.
Cocktail.
Mr. Cocktail. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Expert tutelage.
It's like it's very unnatural and super duper forced.
Yes, very forced.
Yeah. I was like, man, Doc and Harper got to hear this dude talk. I don't blame Kevin Nash at all, obviously. He's just pin me, pay me.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's getting a check. That's what you want me to do. Fuck it. All right, I'll do it. I got a light bill to fucking pay.
Yeah, that's it.
I remember even at the beginning of him as Diesel in WWF, he did like a toned down version of that where he had a little bit of an accent. Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't quite as bad
on him, or if this is his idea.
So it wasn't quite. Their idea. This
I
whole
think
thing
it's
has to be their idea. Because why would he want to dress like that?
I mean, this is an improvement over the Great Oz.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's
what's
sad.
Still has that the Oz get up with the mask and the cape and all that.
I would have burned that shit if I was him, but who knows?
Someone needs to ask him that on this podcast.
We'll look for the next, what is that A&E show? Buried Treasures or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. The Hidden Treasures.
Yeah.
Let's start looking for that.
Somebody ask him that on his podcast. Somebody out there listening, ask him if he still got that Oz get up. I will never ever. That's one of the moments in this show that I'll never forget. Just thinking, the monkey committed suicide. It jumped off of Kevin Sullivan's shoulder and just, like he was jumping off of a burning building and just hung himself.
And a bear taking a piss.
Yeah, I mean, come on. What are we doing here, right? Fuck. All right. Well, that's Vinnie Vegas in that strong fake New York Dollar Tree Sopranos accent.
Yes, man.
From there, we go to Marcus Bagwell versus Mark Kyle, Killer Kyle, if you are familiar with our Smoky Mountain shows. And Bagwell's going to win this one. It didn't go on too long. It was pretty quick. Did you have anything from this one, Crockett?
No, it's just a perfectly all right match.
Yeah. Bagwell with a backdrop, and then a lariat, and then a perfect plex for the win, basically, is his finisher. And that was that. From there, Bagwell is going to cut a promo. And in his promo, he's going to once again be interrupted by Terry Taylor. So I'm going to get to that right now. Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, another great victory for Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Last week we got interrupted. Had a lot of things I want to tell you about. But again, great fans here. You're getting great fan support all over America.
It's really great, Jim. It's a great feeling to know you come into professional wrestling like I have. The WCW's accepted me, and so are these great fans. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm going to give it my best shot.
You've certainly been doing that great effort displayed. Hey, wait.
Great match, Marcus, great match, but I got something to say, so why don't you just run along? I got something to say.
Oh, I checked with the director, Jim. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ross. This is my interview time.
You're exactly right. This is his interview time.
Ross, hold the microphone. That's your job. Let me tell you, I've been around a long time. It's time for you to go. Go on, run along. Go on. It's your time to leave. Go on.
Mr. Ross, I don't want to cause any problems. I just want to be in the WCW. I don't have no problems right now. I'm going to give the man what he wants.
All right, young man. There'll be another day for you out here. Yeah, thanks.
I got my Learjet waiting at the airport, and I can't be standing around here waiting for a rookie. I'm heading out to London to get some clothes made because I am the best dressed man. I am the best looking man. And when I get in that ring, you're going to see how good the tailor-made man really is. So no matter what any of you say, I am going to the top of WCW because I am tailor-made.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, interrupting Marcus Alexander Bagwell is a tailor-made man, and we'll be back right after this timeout.
I thought it was pretty good. I like Terry Taylor being a conceited prick right here. Once again, this is multiple times he's done this to Bagwell. I thought it was good. He's like, I'm not waiting for you to wrap up, rookie. I got my jet waiting on me. Any thoughts, Crockett?
Well, yeah, I like how he says he has something to say, and he really just has absolutely nothing to say. There's really nothing there.
You just want to be a prick.
Yeah.
A bully. Yeah. That's what he does. Yeah, same thing. And I've kept telling Doc for weeks, and Harper too, I think he's done a very good job of rehabilitating himself after.
Oh, yeah. It's a good gimmick. I like his hair, the outfit.
Yeah, he's no longer. I don't know why, Harper, but that reminds me of Darren for some reason.
I'm surprised no one made a sign with the cornflakes box with the rooster on it back then.
Somebody had to. We just never saw it. Somebody had to. I mean, they had to.
Wake up.
Fucking Red Rooster. Never forget the first time I saw him on WWF TV doing that shit. I was like, Are you serious?
I was like, what's he doing? Why is his hair like that? Okay, so he's like a chicken?
Yeah.
And he's with Bobby Heenan. Remember that? He was with Bobby Heenan when he first came in.
The part that's most memorable to me, Harper, is when he's in the ring, like, you know how a rooster like head kind of cocks back and forth or forward?
Yeah.
He was doing that in the ring.
Yeah.
I was like, why is he clucking like a rooster?
Because he's a rooster. Here comes the rooster. He ain't gonna die or something like that. Right, Crockett?
It was so terrible. Doc would be like, I don't. Dude, Doc would be like, you're asking the wrong one. I didn't watch that shit.
Here comes the rooster.
So, one thing about some of these WWF gimmicks, does he believe he's a chicken?
We've had this talk, Crockett.
Or one that always perplexes me is tugboat. Does he think he's a tugboat?
I don't know, bro. It's just, it's crazy when you look at these gimmicks like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He's a barber. Why?
Yeah.
And as a kid, I never questioned it. It's like, okay, he's going. I can't wait for him to cut the guy's hair. Like, why is he doing this?
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
But I mean, he made it work. I mean, it's like the Undertaker. You're a fucking Undertaker, and your manager is Paul Bearer. He's probably thinking, "What the fuck, man?" But hey, it's a paycheck, and he made it fucking work.
Yeah,
I say that all the time. Like we kill some of these gimmicks that these professions, right? We get them and like that was dumb, this was dumb. But like I'm not trying to down the Undertaker, but on the surface, you're like,
yeah. Just think about it when he first met them. When he sat down, it's like, okay, you're going to be called the Undertaker. And you're basically going to be like the guy from the Addams Family. You rang. You're going to be doing that. He's like, remember Percy Pringle? Yeah. He's going to be your manager. And his name's going to be Paul Bearer. You get it? Paul Bearer. You're probably thinking, what in the fuck am I doing? What?
What was the other gimmick? Because remember on the A&E special Crockett, he was worried there was another gimmick that he was going to get.
He was going to be he was going to be in the egg.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Survivor Series egg.
Because it was around the same time. He was like, "Oh my God, they're going to put me in that egg." And it ended up not being that. It ended up being the Undertaker. But yeah, you're right. Like that's what I always tell people. You know, when we talk about suspending, the disbelief of it, it's like when you really think about it, everybody praises, the Undertaker. Oh my God, it's a great gimmick. But if you really think about it, it was that name. You're an Undertaker. You're not. Nobody's dead in the ring.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. But then the gimmick got over, and it got a cult following, and then it's what it is now, where it's like, oh, that's the greatest gimmick ever. But in reality, he was an Undertaker. It's really not that much different than a plumber, or like Wild Bill was the goon. Like, oh, he was a goon. He was a hockey goon. All those gimmicks were dumb if you really think about it. It's just the Undertaker one was the hit, you know?
The fucking Repo Man. You see,
yeah.
I had no idea what a Repo Man was.
No,
we were too young.
Right, because I'm like 8. I'm like, why is he wearing like a mask? Like a
Zorro.
Like a bank thief, a bank thief from like the fucking Jetsons. And he's like sneaking around, and he has like tire tracks on him. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, and I didn't know what he was. I figured like, oh, he's just a robber of some sort.
Right.
He was dressed like a burglar. Like he was dressed like the Hamburglar.
The Hamburglar.
Was like, why does this guy look like the Hamburglar? What's he stealing?
Hamburgers.
Yeah, no, he was a repossession man, which again, we were too young. Isn't it weird how like but that's that old thing, Harper, where we ate everything up. We didn't question none of that shit.
It's like how Crockett just brought up Tugboat. I didn't care that he looked like the Cracker Jack box kid, just like large. I was like, that's Hulk Hogan's friend. He's going to get revenge on Earthquake. And yeah, fuck him. Get him, Tugboat.
Every time we have this discussion, I just think of little Harper, when they fucking wrap that chair around Zeus's head and Harper's sitting at home on TV. He's like, oh my God. This dude took a nuclear bomb to the head. What are they going to do with this dude?
Nothing.
He's like, I eat that shit up, bro. Every time we have this discussion. Yeah, we just accepted that dumb shit, man. We just accepted it. Asked no questions.
Right.
But
I don't even think I started asking. Go ahead, Crockett.
Bruce Pritchard says that if he just gave it enough time, Terry Taylor could have gotten the Red Rooster over. He just couldn't commit to it. He would have been the next Undertaker, the Red Rooster, if he'd only committed, if he'd only gone full force with the Red Rooster gimmick.
Have you
had him with fucking Coco Beware because he had the fucking parrot?
Have you ever heard?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Bruce Pritchard's talk about the Red Rooster, Harper?
Yeah, like he said, like, no, man, it's not a rib. It was, he just didn't make it work.
Yeah, he claims like when they pitched it to him or tried to explain it to him that the whole rooster thing was, no, it wasn't a rooster. He was like a cocky person. So, he was like the cock, he was a cocky person. Yeah. And that, if Taylor would have just leaned into it and been that cocky person, like a rooster was, it would have been all right. He'd have got it over, but he didn't embrace it. And I always tell Crockett this, he was producing the shit. So when he's fucking on, why are you allowing him to do that if that's not what you want that character to be? Don't lie, Bruce. He was clucking like a fucking rooster and you didn't say anything. Like, you're just revisionist history now, telling a different story. It's all absurd when you really think about it, how they try to pacify their bad ideas that don't land. It's like Terry Taylor was a capable wrestler. You didn't have to put the rooster gimmick on him. He'd have been all right. Like, He
could have done Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials.
I mean, it's just terrible. And here's the thing, like, somebody one time, maybe it was you, Crockett, said, well, could he have been $1 Million Man? Could Terry Taylor have done it? I actually think he could have pulled that shit off.
I think he, like, because like this gimmick he's doing is kind of sort of like that.
It kind of is.
I think they're trying to have the Ric Flair's gone. They're trying to have like a Ric Flair. He's talking about Lear jets and stuff like that. He's trying to fill that role, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to the main portion of the show now. Good discussion, though. Sting defeated Mike Samples. Did you have anything from that, Crockett?
Just that I never noticed that Sting's theme was like a subtle ripoff of the Ultimate Warrior's theme. I never really noticed that until watching this.
His entrance music?
Yeah.
Kinda. A little bit. The way the beat is what it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was Man Called Sting.
Oh no, that comes later. Once the Slam Jam album comes out. But
before
that.
Well, then we go to Steve Austin, who limps to the ring with a bum knee, and he is the TV champion still, taking on Barry Windham. Barry immediately goes straight for the knee of Austin that is wrapped very heavily. I mean, he's going at it and attacking it. Eventually, Austin starts working on Windham's injured wrist and hand, though, but Windham then wraps Austin's leg around the post. Paul Lee is having a fit on the outside as he's worried about his champion in here. So we got a battle of two injured people, one with a wrist, one with a knee injury. What did you have from this, Crockett?
No, it was pretty short, simple story being told. Yeah, they each have a weak body part, and they're going after it. And Windham's pissed off from the attack on his hand, so he's kind of throwing the rule book out, and he ends up getting disqualified, right?
He does. He puts Austin in a figure four. The crowd is like dead. I don't know what's going on. It's so odd because these are two stars, but it's really weird. Windham's using a rope for leverage on the figure four, and Austin is screaming. Austin actually gets a hold of Paulie's phone and starts screaming into the phone like somebody's going to answer the cordless phone. It's hilarious. Yeah, it was very comical. I may have missed it in the replay as we were talking about it, but he's literally screaming into the phone. Long story short, yeah, it's a DQ. Windham's DQ'd because he wouldn't let go, but the Dangerous Alliance comes out and they start going for Windham's hand. Steiner Brothers hit the ring to help Windham, though, and they chase off the Dangerous Alliance, and there was that. From there, we go to a Ricky Steamboat promo. He had one earlier. Now he has another. During the promo, they replay Rude beating down Steamboat with a belt after 2 Rude Awakenings. And I really wasn't going to play it because there's only one real memorable line from the promo, and it's when Ricky Steamboat says, "You have brought the dragon out of Ricky Steamboat. The dragon is going to breathe fire, and you're the one to burn." Man, Ricky Steamboat seemed like he had a really scripted promo right there. But I don't know. What did you think about that, Crockett?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was never a strong promo, but he got a little more intense with this one, and he started tripping over his words a little bit at the beginning, but by the end he was pretty intense, and it was probably one of the better promo outings for Steamboat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we moved there from the main event of the episode, which is Rick Rude, the U.S. Heavyweight Champion, versus Crockett's favorite wrestler. He was asking me about him earlier. the Z-Man, Tom Zink. This is your guy, Crockett. You're like Chris Zoncha on the Facebook group, just loving you some Zink these days. So what are your thoughts?
I'm surprised. Once you saw this main event, I'm surprised you didn't try to take the week off.
I thought about it, but if I did that, there would be no show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that can't happen. Yeah, Jesus, Tom Zink. I was just thinking this is going on too long. Rick Rude should have beat this guy in like 2 minutes.
Come on, man. That's the Z-Man.
I would rather watch Chris Zoncha in the ring versus Rick Rude. I mean, for that, put Javorsky in there.
With his pit bull.
Maybe not Javorsky. He might try to give Rick Rude a reach around.
Give him the other kind of rude awakening.
The guy's whole gimmick is getting relief, man. What the hell? What a buffoon. I mean, anybody who watches Impact, like I always say, they got issues.
Really? It's bad?
It's not that. I don't think that. It's just I haven't seen it enough to think anything about it.
You asked. Jam. We used to talk about Impact all the time.
Man, Impact was good. They had a period where, I don't know, 15 to 17. It was some good stuff. Harper, I did look it up. I don't know when, but Access is not on Hulu Live anymore.
See?
And that's what I think Impact's on. So yeah, there's that. Mm-hmm. So we're missing out on Impact, man. I don't know what we're gonna do.
What the fuck? Thanks, Obama.
Stop. Can you blame something else on Trump? That way both sides can get angry.
Hey, you can't say the word. YouTube's gonna snatch
They'll
it.
demonetize they'll demonetize the freaking episode.
Yeah. You gotta say DT.
Boy.
DJT.
All right. Crockett, any other thoughts on God, I just can't with Z-Man. He puts me to sleep.
Well, they shook hands before the match.
I don't know why.
Are they both from Minnesota?
Yes.
You see?
I'm sure that has.
That's it.
Well, so they shook hands because they're both from Minnesota.
Together.
Rick Rude is a prick, and Z-Man is a all-American baby face. And why is he shaking Z-Man's hand?
Because they're both Minnesotans.
In his match, he hits him with the throat thrust and fist, which are both illegal in professional wrestling. But he shook his hand 2 seconds ago.
Well,
this isn't airtight, brother. All right. I guess I'll work to the finish because I don't really have much. Z-Man puts me to sleep, Crockett. I just don't have anything from this guy.
There's one thing that JR talks about that's pretty good. At the beginning, Z-Man's kind of getting over on Rude, and Rude has a conference with Paulie, and then after the fact, he goes to his back, and JR points out, oh, he must have, obviously Paulie knows something about Z-Man's back, and after he talked to Paulie, Rude is focused on the back. So it was pretty good the way that kind of Ross kind of weaved that story in there. But yeah, the match was pretty by the book. I think, Rude's got to go over strong because the big match with Steamboat's coming up. They're really pushing hard. So, yeah, pretty standard.
That's JR being a professional.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll call it like that. So we work towards the finish. Rude has what I think is supposed to be some sort of chokehold or sleeper, but it looks really weird on Z-Man. You can see it here on the video.
And loose.
It's extremely loose, like really, really loose. Z-Man fights out of it. Rude goes to the top rope, but Z-Man hits him in the gut as he is coming down. Rude recovers, though, and hits Z-Man with a stun gun type of move, and then a Rude awakening, and Rude wins by pin. So the right guy is going to win this one. They show a replay, and we go off air. And that was that. I don't know. This was a really weird episode to me. I don't know how to describe it. Like, we rate these. We hand out Rolexes, which we're going to do now. I don't know what
modified chin nuts.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I had it in my notes. I was getting ready to go to the rating from my notes, but look at this. We get a little bit
there
of.
You go.
Come on.
What?
Simply
Grow up. What is
tribute to Ronnie Garvin?
Tribute to Ronnie Garvin. Let me put my dong and balls in your throat. Real classy. We got to rate it, hand out some Rolexes. Before we do so, remember, become a patron. Get access to all the goodies on the Patreon feed at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. That is tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Get access to all those episodes that Doc and I cut last Friday or a couple of Friday nights ago when he was really drunk and I was semi-drunk. It was a fun time talking Adrian Adonis, Ask Doc Parts 1 and 2 in ECW, doing some watch-alongs. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It's also the only place you can get access to Super Brawl 92, which is coming up a few weeks on our Patreon feed. Crockett, I usually throw it to Doc first to rate it, but since you're the guest, I think I'll go first and I will rate it. I don't know, man. It wasn't bad, and it was only an hour and 2 minutes. So, B-. I'm fine with it. What did you give it?
Yeah, it's right in that range, C+, B-. Yeah, I mean, it's like a rather inoffensive show. Nothing stood out really at all, but nothing just stood out as completely dog shit. So it's kind of right in the sweet spot, right in the middle there. So, yeah, I'll say C+.
Harper, you were here for the last half of it. What do you think?
I get an A.
I love it.
It's like a 10-minute show to you.
Yeah.
You love it. I love it. 10 minutes. So then we'll hand out the Toot Toot Award or the reverse Toot Toot Award. I don't think anything stood out as exceptional. And I really don't think anything stood out as really terrible, even though I'm about to talk about something that was bad. I'm going to give the reverse Toot Toot Award this particular week to none other than Vinnie Vegas, because that promo and hearing him talk and then Harper describing what he actually sounds like, I was thinking Dollar Store Soprano, but then Harper starts imitating Mr. Carter, and it really got really good.
Ooh. I used to love that show.
Yeah, the theme song. Come on.
Welcome back. I think it's on Apple, or was it the Chili's or the Applebee's commercial?
Yeah, it is. It's on one of them.
Yeah.
I'm not remembering which one because they blend together. It is.
Right.
They do play it often.
It's the same thing. It's
same,
like,
yes.
Yeah. Fuck, Applebee's and Chili's is the same fucking animal.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The fuck's the
difference? I'm going to give my reverse Toot Toot Award to Vinnie Vegas. So nobody's getting the big award, but I got to give it to Vinnie Vegas. He opens his mouth and I'm just like, listen to this. It's a train wreck. It's funny. It's sad. It's, as Crockett said, he was offended. So I'm going to give mine to Vinnie Vegas. Who are you going to give yours to, Crockett?
I was thinking just along those exact same lines. Just, it was positive in that it opened up some good conversation, but yeah, it was pretty awful. So reverse Toot Toot to Vinnie Vegas.
It's something else when you hear that. So who are you going to give yours to, Harper?
I give mine you know what? I'm giving mine a Rude.
God, I thought you were going to give it to Z-Man.
Come on.
You scared me for a second. I was like, please don't do that. Please don't. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Good choice. I mean, Rude does win. I don't even know what other contenders there are, to be honest with you. Like, when I look at this show, there wasn't anything like, nothing exceptional happened. So that was the tough part. All right. Well, before we get out of here, I want to make a quick mention because I don't think I mentioned it last week, but Hardbody Harper is still producing those great video shout-outs, relationship advice. He's cutting promos on family members and friends that you don't like, your enemies. He will do it all. All you got to do is email him, Chris Harper 16 Wildcat with a K at gmail.com. Tell him what you want in your video. And then more importantly, be very specific, but more importantly, PayPal him $20 to cc30388cc@yahoo.com. If you missed any of that, it is in the show description, and you can let Harper know there what you want in that video and what not. And again, not only pick me ups. I mean, if you hate somebody out there, he will cut a vicious promo on them for you. If you just tell him what's going on, and he'll tell them to grow up and go do whatever they need to go do to solve their issues. And that's all I got this week. Crockett, I want to thank you once again for joining the show on short notice, but next week won't be short notice. And you're going to have that top 5 ready for me, right?
Yeah, I'm going to work on that immediately following the episode here.
Are you really?
No.
Not going to bed? Okay. Harper, Doc said he wanted to start doing some top 5s again. I think he's crazy, but that's what he wants to do. So I don't know if I'm going to do a top 5 next week, but that's what Crockett's doing. He's going to have a top 5
even. Was that pre-Harper top 5?
Oh, Harper did top 5s with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did them. We did a bunch. I don't remember how long it went, but yeah, we did a bunch.
What was the last one we did? We did them with D-Man.
Well, that was the movie thing we did. I meant like Strictly Wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember you did it was like cereals or candy or something. I think you did
candy.
Yeah.
Right. Cereal. What was it? The top
Cereal, candy, hair metal bands.
Hottest black chicks.
We did that?
Yeah, remember that?
I feel like I'd remember that.
What was that?
Yeah, we did hottest black chicks.
God, I've had that conversation with my friends.
Silva did that, right?
I know I've done one with him where he talked about women, and we all did for that fact, but I thought we did that. Maybe he was on that one. Maybe, and I'm just, or maybe we did it, and then he was on an episode where he was like, "All right, y'all said y'all 5. Here's mine." I don't remember, but yeah, I feel like we did that. We've done a bunch of. We got kind of raunchy with it. We did the top 5 rat bangers at one time.
Yeah.
Stan Lane, Ricky Morton. We went down that list, and we all had the same guys. What's that?
I saw cross that one off the list.
Yeah, we all had the same. We literally all had the same guys. All of them. All of them. We all had Ricky Morton, Ric Flair, Stan Lane. It was. We might have had 1 or 2 out of order, but it was pretty much the same. We did so many though. We did a bunch. That was the thing with the top 5s. I felt like we kind of exhausted them. That's why Crockett. I never understood how Joe and Quinn pulled it off all the time. They did 1 million Mount Rushmores.
Yeah.
I don't like the fucking Mount because it's only 4.
It's harder than the 5.
I know.
That's what's hard. That's
Fuck
what
that.
Yeah, that's what's hard. Half the time I can't settle on 5, much less the order.
Yeah.
The good thing about a Mount Rushmore is you're not ranking them. You're only picking 4.
But the thing is, we do the top 5, and then we do like the 2 or 3 honorable mentions.
That's true too, but even then, sometimes it's like, shit, I could
Yeah.
fit a lot more. Man, ranking people sometimes is the most frustrating thing. Doc and I were talking about this on the Patreon show a couple of weeks ago. We were like, I'm sure there are top 5s we all did where if we listen back, we'd be like, we ranked that like that. It changes too as time goes, like, because you watch more stuff or you rewatch something and you're like, you know what, they were better than I thought they were.
Yeah.
So it's weird. But yeah, Joe and Quinn doing those Mount Rushmores, I don't know. They did so many. I was amazed.
Oh yeah, they did a ton of them. Then they did them on Patreon as well.
Yeah, or they did the what was it wasn't even just the Mount Rushmores. What was the one they did where they would like start off with 20 and they would
like a rumble, yeah.
It's like a rumble, and then they would rank it, and they'd have to agree to rank at a certain point. I don't know
like
how
a top
they did
20.
That. It was like a top 20, but they would have to slot them where they thought, and you couldn't reslot someone. Once you slotted them, they were in that slot, and it would go on for weeks because they would only do like 4 at a time, or I forget how many they do at a
2,
time.
I think, yeah.
They perfected that. That would drive me nuts with Doc and Harper. I would be wanting to do the Burger King thing.
I think it drove them nuts too. That's why they stopped.
Yeah. Well, and they exhausted it too. It's like you can only.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Like I said, if you revisit it, I bet you it changes it too. So. But yeah. what's going on with the wrestling podcast about nothing, Crockett? Even though I asked you earlier in the show, and it's still not airtight, brother.
Nothing has changed since an hour and a half ago. Still talking, kind of, not really, and we'll see what happens.
Comes out as often as the Mid-South show right now as we record this July 18th of 2023.
Let's not be crazy. Come on.
He brought that up earlier. Oh, you've had one. You are an asshole.
What?
Man. No, he said he had a WPAN this year. That was him taking a shot at me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. Well, stay tuned to the wrestling podcast about nothing that never drops, everyone, and I'm sure it'll happen. But I think Crockett's going to be with us for the next couple weeks as we work around Doc's schedule, which is insane and crazy. So we'll see how that goes. Harper, anything before we get out of here? I know you wanted to bring up the Burger King 26 slices of cheese thing that you saw.
Oh, God.
Didn't you want to bring that up?
That? Yeah. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it because you sent it to me, but you'll have to describe it to Crockett.
I've seen it. I think it's in Thailand, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, dude. That's a whole pack of fucking cheese.
Just absolutely disgusting.
I know.
Is it sour or is it just a gimmick?
I would take one bite just to see what it's like. They don't have to fucking throw it away.
It's like a gimmick. It's like the KFC one that was 2 chicken patties instead of buns.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, that's kind of simple though.
I just looked it up. It is in Thailand, and it is 20 slices of cheese, nothing else. And it's comically called the real cheeseburger.
Yeah, 20 slices of cheese. I mean, that's how much, like, if you get the pack of, like, Velveeta.
That's disgusting.
That's like 20 slices.
I don't want to take a bite of that. If I wanted to do that, I would just take a bite of a block of cheese.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
The bun is not going to overpower all that cheese taste. And I don't like cheese that much. I mean, I like a cheeseburger, don't get me wrong. I mean, but no.
Yeah, fuck that.
If you would like Harper to buy a pack of cheese and put it on a bun and melt the cheese and eat it, then that's where you get your video of Harper. Go to.
No.
You wouldn't do it for $20?
Crowdsource this thing.
That's just crazy, dude.
Well, I mean, they would have to, as always, when they want props from you.
No, they can't pay me to eat that.
The hell they can't. What if somebody said, Harper, I'll give you $100.
What's your price?
Plus props. I'll send you an extra $10 for the buns and the cheese you gotta buy.
Oh no.
You wouldn't do it?
What the fucking 20 slices fucking cheeseburger?
All you gotta do is take one bite.
Oh, one bite? Yeah. All right, I'll take one bite, but I'm not gonna just sit there and just eat the whole fucking thing.
Oh no, I'd puke.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't shit for a fucking year.
Dude, you'd be clogged up for a century.
Bro, your stomach would be fucked up.
Do you
probably die, bro.
I don't know if you'd die, but you would be clogged up.
Dude, you'd be fucked up, dude. That's just crazy.
Somebody's getting that.
Yeah, someone is, dude, and they're not human.
I don't know. They're talking about these UAPs flying around all the time, man. So who knows?
The what?
It might be a flying saucers, Harper.
Oh, all right. Well, then just say that then.
Well, they call them UAPs now. Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Yeah. Look out.
So you said you're gonna send him buns and cheese?
No, I'm just saying if you want to see Harper take a bite of that, name your price.
Pack of cheese.
Yeah, he needs a good $5 to get a pack of cheese, and then he needs. I mean, you can get a pack of buns for $1.50. So there you go. Send him. Well, I don't know. You got to put your price on it. How much would you do it for?
I don't know, bro. So I would have to get like those little shitty those like dollar hamburgers from McDonald's because the patty's so thin.
Mm-hmm.
To make it fucking doable.
There's no patty though. There's no
patty. You're just eating bun and cheese. You're just taking one big.
Oh my god!
You didn't realize that.
That's the point of the 20 cheese slice. You're gonna take one, maybe 2 bites.
Cheeseburger though.
It's a real cheeseburger, meaning there's just cheese.
Yeah, there's just cheese. There's no meat.
Jesus Christ. I don't know.
So
bro.
yeah, how much?
That's almost like taking a bite of like a stick of butter.
I saw a kid do that when I was younger.
Dude, I would have. No way. No way.
I've seen kids, yeah. This one kid I used to know, I went to like daycare with him when I was real little, and this kid literally used to eat butter. And I'm like, back before I knew anything about, you could have a heart attack, and it just seemed disgusting. He just would take a hunk of butter and just start chewing. Going to town. I'm like, wow. I don't know, bro. Butter tastes good. Don't get me wrong, like on some toast and stuff, but not a stick. I don't want to bite a stick of butter.
Yeah, I would throw up if I saw someone do that.
Yeah, that's pretty damn gross, you know.
That's fucking gross, dude.
Yeah. So, email Harper and maybe he'll take your bids to see if he'll take at least 2 bites of the 20 slice cheese with no hamburger on it.
And just melt and go all over the fucking place.
1 bite, Harper. You're not like inhaling this thing. If somebody offered you $100 to take 2 bites of that.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I'm saying. So if you want him to take 2 bites of that nasty shit, all you got to do is email him, ChrisHarper16, Wildcat with a K @gmail.com, and then PayPal him to whatever that was I just read a second ago. It's in the show description, and Harper will do it for you. He said he'll do it for $100, and he'll cut a promo too while he's at it. So I hope you get like 100 requests and you puke your guts out a few times while doing this. But if you got 100 requests at $100 a pop, that's pretty good money, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
You'll take it. Anyway, there you go. All right, on that note, Crockett, I look forward to the next WPAN, which is on an extended hiatus, like 16 mil. I know what I wanted to get on your ass about. You were on the Ringer podcast with Leo. What's his last name? You lying sack of shit. Oh, you have always told me, I was getting ready to close the show, and I'm glad I remember. You have always told me that your favorite episode of the WPAN was the Uncivil War, North versus South. You get on another man's pod and you said, oh no, my favorite was when we had Warbeard Hansen on. It was just really good. And I'm like, that motherfucker, he lied his ass off. He's been coming on this show for all these years, 8 years now, talking about how great and fun that episode was on the WPN. And he goes on another man's podcast and starts talking about, oh, yeah, my favorite one. I didn't even get an honorable mention. I got no mention on that show. That really hurt. What did Paulie Walnut say, Harper? Hey, how much can a man take? I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart.
I've been stabbed in the heart.
That's how I felt.
I just checked
Thanks,
my
Crockett.
emails. If someone sent me one.
Someone
you got one?
On July
from
8th.
10
live? Wow.
From 10 days ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it's not going out live. He's talking about
this, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, he don't check his email every day. Yeah, see, you got to get on that.
AJ Robinson.
There you go. See, get on.
From the UK.
There you go. You got to get on that. Get old lady Harper to do the video and cut your promo.
There you go. All right.
I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart. Thanks,
That's how
Crockett.
you'll feel after you eat the real cheeseburger.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I had to cut that promo on you, Crockett. Thanks for lying to me all these years.
Yeah, no, I was lying to them. I wasn't lying to you.
Bullshit. I need you to go back on that show and make it right. Yeah. I see what you do. You play to the crowd. That's how it works, huh?
Yeah, basically.
I got you. Play to the crowd. All right, on that note, we're going to get out of here. It's been a fun night. And I guess Crockett will be back next week joining us for... there is no February 8th show. I believe it jumps all the way to February 15th. I think the show was preempted that weekend. But Harper hit the tagline. The new tagline is "Relieve It," So hit the tagline, Harper. No, go. Yeah, that's the new one. That's what Doc's been doing. Relieve it,
bitch.